Hi everyone, welcome to my season review for West Bromwich Albion season 2012-2013. It's been another amazing season for us, as it was last season before. We've finished in the top 10 again. We've actually finished in 8th place. We finished the top 10 in the Midlands as well for the second successive season. We achieved a record amount of points we've had in a Premier League season. We finished on 49 points, which is actually 2 more than we had last season and also the season before that. The season, of course, it was the first season in charge under Steve Clarke. He took over from the current England boss, Roy Hodgson. We signed Ben Foster on a permanent deal after his loan spell from Blues. Last season we signed him for an undisclosed fee. The deal is believed to be in the region of £4 million. Also we signed Claudio Jacob on a free transfer. I mean, what a find that is. He's been brilliant for us. Marcus Rosenberg, although he didn't play for us much at first, he's been making a few sub-appearances, first-year appearances, and he looks to have really improved. We've obviously had the amazing loan signing of Romelu Lukaku from Chelsea. I mean, words can't describe how good he's been. He's been absolutely incredible. So on to the season itself. We start the season at home to Liverpool. It's time to see 2 new managers in charge, of course, Brendan Rodgers for Liverpool and Steve Clarke for the Baggies. We couldn't have hoped for a better performance or result, really. I mean, we were absolutely incredible in this game. We really, really were. We won the game 3-0. Fully deserved that. Zoltan Gira scored an absolutely incredible goal right at the end of the first half to give us a 1-0 half-time lead. Second half, it was pretty much the same. We just continued our dominance. Daniel Agger got sent off for Liverpool in the second half to concede a penalty. Shane Long stepped up to take the resulting penalty. Unfortunately, it's one of the worst penalties you will ever see. He basically just passed the ball back to Pepe Reina. But, shortly after that, we got a second penalty. This time, Pedro Wingy stepped up, made it 2-0. And then to wrap it all up, Lukaku came on off the bench. Corner come in, Lukaku hit it in, 3-0. Completely deserved. Amazing victory, full-time. West Bromwich Albion 3, Liverpool 0 on the opening day. I don't think anyone could have hoped for any better than that, really. So the second game of the season, we travelled to Spurs. Benoit Asuakoto scored for Spurs in the 74th minute. It looked as though it was going to be 1 win and 1 defeat, which wouldn't have been bad. Spurs, they're a great team. But fortunately, we managed to snatch an equaliser in stoppage time through James Morrison to make it 1-1. So we had 4 points after 2 games. After that, on Tuesday night, we travelled to Yeovil Town in the Capital One Cup second round. We won the game by 4-2 to go through to the third round. Shane Long scored 2. Would you believe it? Who got the 2 for Yeovil? Ruben Reid. Could you believe that? I couldn't believe that. Especially when it was 2-1. I was thinking, oh God, you've got to be kidding me. So the end of August, we found ourselves in 4th place from 2 games with 4 points. Also advancing to the third round of the Capital One Cup. So August was a really, really good month for us. September, it started at a home game against Everton. It was up to us for another good performance. Maybe between 2 sides who hadn't lost in the first 2 games of the Premier League. We won the game by 2-0. Goals from Shane Long and Gareth McCauley. Up next, we travelled to Fulham, which proved to be a very disappointing game. Pedro Wingy got sent off with an awful tackle on the Fulham player. Fully deserved red card. He can have no complaints. It really was not the best of games at all. We lost the game by 3-0, so it was our first defeat of the season. Following that, however, we played at home against Reading. We won the game by 1-0. I think the result was a lot more comfortable than 1-0 suggested. Reading, they came to us really looking for a point, and I think as soon as we went 1-0 up, Lukaku scored the goal, by the way. As soon as we went 1-0 up, that was it really. Reading really never looked like they were going to get back in the game, so we won by 1-0. And then after that, we had the Capital One third round. We faced Liverpool at home, the holders. I actually watched this game on the internet, the full 90 minutes. I couldn't get to the game myself. I watched it online. We started really, really well. We went 1-0 up through Gabriel Tamas. Out of absolutely nowhere, Liverpool equalised. I think it was Sahin, I might be wrong. He hit a ball from range. It just basically went through Ben Foster's hands. And then it was 1-1 out of nowhere. And after that, it was 50-50 for the whole game. Unfortunately, Liverpool, managed to get the win. They won by 2-1 and advanced through to the fourth round, so we was out. We ended September with a local derby against Aston Villa at Villa Park. It was a fairly tight game throughout the game. We actually managed to go 1-0 up through Shane Long. I seen the game on Sky Sports. However, the substitute Darren Bent, he grabbed an equaliser for Villa with 10 minutes remaining, and it ended 1-1. And to be fair, I think a draw really was the fair result. I think at the time we was doing really well, and Villa, they desperately needed a victory, a point. They did play well. We played all right. I think 1-1 was probably about right. So at the end of September, we was in 6th place from 6 games on 11 points, and even at this early stage in September we was already 8 points above the relegation zone and just 1 point off the 2 Manchester clubs who were 2nd and 3rd, and just 5 points off league leaders Chelsea. October seen us begin with a home game against Queen's Park Rangers. We won the game by 3-2. We played very well. QPR seemed to score with pretty much their only 2 shots on target. I mean, it was 3-2. It could have been 3-0 really, I've got to be honest. When it was 3-1 and QPR got one back in stoppage time, you was thinking, oh god, here we go. But fortunately, Basinga, he missed an incredible chance in stoppage time to make it 3-all, and it finished 3-2. So that victory meant we'd won all 4 of our home games in the Premier League this season. And after that game, we played the reigning champions Manchester City at home. I was absolutely devastated at the end of this game. I'd go as far as saying it was absolutely heartbreaking. We played so well against them. 0-0 at half time. James Milner got sent off for City. We went 1-0 up through Shane Long. We was playing really good football. Man City equalised in the last 10 minutes, a corner which Foster dropped, and Dzeko smacked it in. But still, you're thinking, a draw, even against 10 men of Man City, that's a good result, and going into stoppage time, it looked like it was headed for a draw. We was playing well. And then in the last minute of stoppage time, we actually got a corner. The ball came to Liam Ridgewell. I think he didn't know whether to shoot or cross it in. And as he was hesitating, City won the ball off him. They played the long ball to Dzeko. You've got to give credit to Dzeko. It was an amazing run, an amazing finish, 1-1 with Ben Foster. And the last kick of the game, well, it wasn't quite the last kick of the game, but the last minute of stoppage time, Dzeko smashed it in. City snatched the points 2-1. It took me about 10 minutes to leave my seat after the full-time whistle. I just couldn't move. I was absolutely devastated by it. So at the end of October, we was in 8th place on 14 points. 10 points off the relegation zone, but still just 3 points off the top 4. So, we're still doing really well. November began at home to Southampton. I actually missed the game. I had to go to, I didn't have to, but I did go to a wrestling event. We won by 2-0. Peter Odemwingie scored both the goals. Then it was Wigan Athletic away, a team who we don't really have much of a good record over the last few years. But we managed to get a 2-1 win in the game at the DW Stadium. Then it was the reigning European champions at home, Chelsea, and for the second successive season we beat them at home. We managed to get a 2-1 victory against them. Shane Long and Peter Odemwingie got the goals for the Baggies. And of course it proved to be Roberto Di Matteo's last game in charge at Chelsea. He was actually sacked shortly after this, and it was an interesting record. That's actually the second successive Chelsea manager that's been sacked after losing against West Brom at the Hawthorns, because of course it was Andres Villas-Boas the season before. So yep, two wins in a row over to Chelsea, absolutely amazing stuff. And after the Chelsea game, we travelled to Sunderland. It's another game I've seen live on Sky Sports. We played very well. We won by 4-2, fully deserved. Zoltan Gira, Shane Long, Romelu Lukaku and Marc-Antoine Fortuné got the goals for us. That saw us with 4 wins in a row. And I think me and everyone was getting excited, thinking, God, we could finish in the top 5 here with just all these results and the way we were playing. After that, we played away to Swansea. Unfortunately, we really didn't play well at all. We lost by 3-1, but still, it was a successful November, and it was still a good season up to then. In November, it ended with us in 4th place from 14 games. We were on 26 points. We was in a Champions League spot, of course, and we're now already with 14 points ahead of the relegation zone, so doing really well. December, that started with the worst possible fixture. Yep, you got it. Stoke City at home. And it was the same old fucking shit. Every fucking time Stoke at home, we do the same. Yep, and as usual, we lost 1-0 in the typical fashion. Stoke, they just had 10 players behind the ball, and as usual, we just couldn't break them down, and we lost 1-0. It wasn't just an awful game of result. It was because I usually go to the games with my dad in the car. He was on holiday, and because I can't drive, I have to get the train. And unfortunately, the train I get back, I have to get back to Whitfield train station. Now, the one back, I have to wait till 6:30 until my train arrives. So, of course, I'm there waiting on the train to go Birmingham side, and this is about 5:45. So what do we Stoke fans? I'm the only person on the side going to Birmingham, and then there's 1,000 Stoke fans all around me. No, I am not exaggerating when I say that. Oh, the amount of things they said and did about me, but whatever, you know. Stoke was always going to lose. They couldn't have made me feel any worse than I did, you know. Getting excited over beating West Brom 1-0 away. You always do, Stoke fans. I don't know what you're getting so excited for. Sorry, I really don't like Stoke at all. The following out of that, we travelled to Arsenal. We lost by 2-0. Both the goals were penalties and both were controversial. The first was a clear dive by Santi Cazorla. Somehow the referee missed it. He gave Cazorla the penalty. Up stepped, I think it was Arteta. He scored. You know, and the second one, although it was a foul and a penalty to Arsenal, before that, one of our players actually got fouled by an Arsenal player, which was missed. So, second penalty went in, 2-0. Then we played West Ham United today. It really wasn't a very good game, but it finished 0-0. I think West Ham, to be fair, you got to give them credit. They defended very, very well. They were in bad form at the time, West Ham, and they did defend well. We didn't do enough to score, really. 0-0. Probably a fair result, really, to be fair. Which was probably the correct result. We played Norwich City at home on the Saturday before Christmas. At the time we played Norwich, they actually were unbeaten in 10 games, and I was reading the programme before the game, and at the time they was actually the informed side in the whole of Europe, would you believe? Despite going 1-0 down for a really good Robert Snodgrass free kick, we managed to win the game 2-1. Zoltan Gira and Romelu Lukaku with the goals. And on Boxing Day, we travelled to Queen's Park Rangers. We came away with another 2-1 victory. Chris Brunt and a Rob Green own goal for us. And then we ended December away to Manchester United. We put up a good performance. We lost by 2-0, but we played well. But you know, Man United, Old Trafford, you're very rarely going to get anything there. So at the end of December, you know, still going brilliantly. We were in 6th place on 33 points from 19 games. We were level on points with Everton and Spurs, who were in 4th and 5th place, only behind one goal difference, of course. And now we're 18 points with relegation zone at this point. So still exceptionally comfortable, still exceptionally good season. January, it started at home to Fulham on New Year's Day, and for the 3rd successive season, we were the midday kick-off for Sky, and for the 3rd year in a row, we lost. It probably should have been a draw, I think. We lost 2-1, but Berbatov had an incredible game. He scored both Fulham's goals. He really was the difference between the two sides. I felt really sorry for the fans more than anything, because we sold out all of our home allocation. There was about 25,500 Albion fans and about 100 Fulham fans, and of course Fulham win 2-1, but that's the way football goes sometimes. Following that, it was the FA Cup 3rd round, which saw us play Queen's Park Rangers away. It seemed as though we were going to go through to the 4th round. We were winning 1-0, we were all over QPR, but then in stoppage time, up steps Kieran Dyer to equalise, which of course ended up being Kieran Dyer's last ever game for Queen's Park Rangers. So it finished 1-1, which meant a replay at the Hawthorns. After the FA Cup 3rd round, it was the last home derby against Aston Villa. The last of the season, should I say. We had a really shocking first half. We were 2-0 down. We were lucky to be 2-0 down. It should have been 3-0. But to be fair, as bad as we were, Villa, I've got to say, they were brilliant. They were absolutely brilliant. 2-0 up. They fully deserved to be 2-0 up. I could have had any complaints if there was 3-0 up, to be honest. Second half, we were much better. It proved to be a game of 2 halves. We did play very, very well. We managed to get it back to 2-2. And I suppose a draw was a fair result in the end, considering how well Villa played in the first half and how well we played in the second half. So the last game in January, it saw us travel to Everton, and we lost the game by 2-1. Also in January, of course, it's seen the last day of the transfer window, and we saw Peter Odemwingie driving to London, thinking he was having talks with Queen's Park Rangers and speaking to the Sky camera, saying he wants to move. And I was thinking, that's interesting. He was saying that apparently there was confusion. That there was no talks between Albion and QPR. Peter Odemwingie thought there was. His agent thought there was, and it was a bit of a mess, really. And Odemwingie really didn't help things by going on Twitter and blaming the fans and the board and all these things he was saying. And of course, he'd only make a few substitute appearances just after that, and he's probably going to be off next season anyway, I'd have thought. So the end of January, it saw us in 9th place on 34 points from 24 games, 8 points off the top 4 and 14 points off the relegation zone. February, that began at home against Spurs. We played well in the game. We deserved a draw. Unfortunately, Goran Popov stupidly decided to spit at Kyle Walker and get himself sent off. If it stayed 11 against 11, I think it definitely would have been 0-0. But they made the man pay, and Gareth Bale scored an absolutely brilliant goal for Spurs. So that meant Spurs won by 1-0. Gareth Bale. At this stage, I don't know everyone, but I was panicking a little bit because the wheels seemed to be coming off. We seemed to be sliding down the table. We seemed to be losing games, and I was thinking, where's this next win going to come from? But after that, we faced Liverpool at Anfield, which I seen on Sky Sports, the Monday night game. Absolutely amazing defensive display and amazing performance by Ben Foster. Managed to get in 0-0 at half-time. And then came the game changer. Luis Suarez decided to dive, and he won a penalty, which was very frustrating. But then the replay showed it clearly wasn't a penalty. But Steven Gerrard stepped up. It was very well saved by Ben Foster. And I think I'm right in saying that was Steven Gerrard's only penalty miss of the season. And then Yusuf Balubba hit one from long range in the last 10 minutes, which was saved by Ryan and out for a corner. And from the resulting corner, it was absolutely brilliantly headed in by Gareth McCauley to put us 1-0 up completely against the run of play. And I think I'm right in saying it was our first shot on target. But that was amazing. Liverpool had poor players forward, desperate to try and find an equaliser, and in stoppage time we caught them on the break. Romelu Lukaku had an amazing run. Reina smacked it in 2-0, and it was the first time we'd done the double over Liverpool since the 1966-67 season. Amazing stuff. February ended with us at home to Sunderland, a team that we've got a very, very good record over. We've got a very good record over Sunderland. I think we've got Sunderland's team we've got the most points against in the Premier League history. We put up a good performance and we won 2-1. Lukaku got both goals, and Lukaku also missed a penalty. At the end of February, it saw us in 9th place on 40 points from 28 games. We were now just 2 points behind 7th place Liverpool and 16 points off the relegation zone. March began away to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. We lost the game 1-0. And then we was at home to Swansea. Swansea, a team that seemed to have a good record against us. They didn't double over us the season before, and of course they'd beaten us at Liberty Stadium this season. Would you believe it? Luke Moore of all people scored for Swansea to get them 1-0 up. Oh dear, would you believe it? However, we managed to get a 2-1 victory in the end. We played pretty well. Moved on to 43 points. We then faced our night team Stoke City at the Britannia. Managed to get a 0-0 draw, but 0-0, even listen, it's Stoke. Draws as good as a win when Albion plays Stoke, So we got a 0-0 draw away to Stoke. You can't say fair in that really. Let's go in March. Seen us play our way to West Ham. We played absolutely awful and we lost 3-1. March ended with us on 44 points. We were in 9th place from 31 games, 4 points behind 7th place Liverpool, and 14 points above the relegation zone. April, that began with us at home to Arsenal. They won 2-0 up, and then for some reason we only started to play football in the last 15 minutes. Managed to get one goal back from a penalty, and I think I'm right in saying it was Koscielny who fouled long in the area. He got sent off. We scored the penalty 2-1. Played really, really well. Nearly equalised at the end, but it was just too late really, and we lost the game by 2-1. Then we faced Newcastle at home. We started absolutely horrendously and went 1-0 down. We came more and more into the game though as it ended, and we got a 1-1 draw. We ended April away to Southampton. We put in a very, very good performance. We came away with a 3-0 victory. The only downside was Marc-Antoine Fortune got sent off, but we played very, very well. So at the end of April, we was in 8th place on 48 points from 34 games, now guaranteed to avoid the relegation zone, and also guaranteed to beat our best points tally in the Premier League season. So the final month for the season, May, that proved to be a fairly miserable month, other than the last game of the season, which I will get onto later because that was quite extraordinary. We started at home to Wigan Athletic. Despite being 1-0 and 2-1 up, we lost the game by 3-2. I thought they were goals we could have avoided. We played all right. It's just, I don't know. Up next, we travelled to Manchester City. We had a number of first-team players out. We lost 1-0, but we did play very, very well. Then it was Norwich away. Worst performance of the season by a mile. We lost 4-0. I'm not going to say any more than that. We ended the season at home to, of course, which would be the champions, Manchester United, which, of course, proved to be Sir Alex Ferguson's last game in charge of United as he announced his retirement. This game, it was the most incredible game I have ever been to as a fan in my entire life. Probably one of the most incredible games, if not the most incredible game in the history of the Premier League, I'd say. United quickly found themselves 2-0 up within inside 8 minutes. Shortly after that, they went 3-0 up. And when the third got in, I was like thinking, oh God, it's going to be 10-0 at this rate. However, we put up a much better performance at the end of the first half. James Morrison managed to get one back for us. Meant we went in 3-1 down at half time. Second half, we started well. Romelu Lukaku, substitute, scored to make it 3-2. United got the next 2 goals of the game, though. They went 5-2 up, and then just thinking, well, it's game over, obviously. But it wasn't. It was quite incredible. However, it was about to complete an incredible comeback and have one of the most incredible games I've ever seen. Lukaku struck one from distance, which beat Lindegaard low to his right. It was a good goal. Lindegaard maybe could have saved it, but he just missed it. Then just 1 minute later, Yusuf Mulumbu put one in to make it 5-4 with 9 minutes left. Thinking, oh, bloody hell, what's going on here? And we had real belief we could maybe get an equaliser. The fans were urging the players on. They poured forward. And then the incredible happened. Romelu Lukaku popped up, headed in. He was actually on the floor when he headed the ball in to make it 5-5. I screamed so much I lost my voice. I had a sore throat. I've still got a bit of a sore throat now. And that's how the game finished. West Bromwich Albion 5, Manchester United 5. Quite incredible. So that was an amazing last game of the season. So that draw meant we finished on 49 points and in 8th place. As I said at the beginning, it has been an amazing season. We haven't been any lower than 9th all season from the very first game. Romelu Lukaku finished as our top scorer of the Premier League with 17 goals. That also meant he beat Peter Odemwingi's record from the 2010-2011 season, which was 15 goals. We've enjoyed many incredible performances and results. I really hope we stick with Steve Clarke. I think he's done a very, very good job. I would absolutely love it if we could loan Lukaku back, but I very much doubt we will be able to, unfortunately. But if we could, that would be incredible. I feel as though we're only a few players short of going for the top 7. I really do. I think we're so close. It's an amazing feeling, obviously, again, to finish as the top team in the Midlands for the 2nd season in a row. Anyway, that was my season review. Do you agree, disagree with me? What's been your thoughts on the season? And thank you very, very much for listening.